Acclaim, a huge game publisher for the Sega Genesis, and in today's video I'm going to be looking at all 28 games they released under the Acclaim logo. I'm doing another ranking video on my channel. If you're new, you may want to check out my other ranking videos as I'm having a lot of fun doing these. And if you don't see a game that you thought that they published, they also bought other companies as well as use Flying Edge to publish some of their games. So you might want to check out those ranking videos as well. And so, Acclaim, hit and miss is kind of my thoughts when I think of Acclaim. And I'm going to share with you today why, show some game footage. Here we go. I typically like Batman games, not this one. What they try to do is take a Mortal Kombat engine and try to adapt it to an action game, and it just doesn't work. The graphics look good. I like what they try to do with the graphics, but control is terrible. It's nearly impossible to progress and know where to go. This is an absolute mess, and terrible music, a total F. Part of the NBA Jam trilogy for the Genesis, and this is College Slam, kind of a late release and sometimes overlooked, but it has all the great things from the NBA Jam game and applies it to college. I really like what they did with this. Large sprites, excellent gameplay, 4-player options, even additional powers. If you're into college basketball games and you like kind of an arcade feel, now this is not a sim, but it's an A because it is one of the better sport games. Cutthroat Island is a game I really tried to enjoy and like. Attempted it several times and I just couldn't get into it. You can choose one of two characters, and this movie tie-in game just falls short. Now, I kind of like the fact that you can play it kind of two different ways, a brawling style or sword fighting, but you know, it's repetitive, it's rather difficult. While it tries to mix up gameplay elements, this doesn't work for me and it's a D. Do you remember this movie? Well, the video game tie-in does not disappoint. This is an awesome movie tie-in, and I was totally surprised by it. It's got non-stop action, it's got great gameplay, great animations, and it mixes it up. It's got great checkpoints. Look no further for a great action title for the Sega Genesis. This is a solid A, and one of the better ones Acclaim did. I was a huge Bruce Lee fan, and this is a game adaptation of the movie talking about his life, and it falls short for me. It's really kind of a fighting game. There is a 2-player cooperative mode in which you can play with a buddy. There's also a 3-player battle mode. I don't think it has great controls. Definitely recommend playing this with a 6-button controller, and it's a D for me. George Foreman was everywhere in the 90s, and it was cool to see him win the belt at his age. And this game tries to be a decent boxing game. Unfortunately, kind of falls short. I do like the graphics. The sprites are rather large, but you know, I don't know what it is about the music, but it kind of overwhelms the sound effects, and it kind of takes away kind of the experience of a boxing game. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to give this a C. I think there's better boxing games on the Genesis. This baseball game surprised me, and Frank Thomas' Big Hurt is a competent baseball game, above average, offering lots of different options and ways to play it. It's got awesome sprites, great gameplay, and what I really like about this game is the fielding. It's solid. I enjoyed hitting. I really like this game overall, and it surprised me definitely. It's a solid B. And here are the rankings through the first 7 games. Did you read the comic? Did you watch the movie? What did you think of the movie? Well, Judge Dredd is an adaptation of the movie, and you know, whether you love it or hate it, this is a decent video game. I don't like this as much as Demolition Man, or it's more objective based. Some of the level design is a little clunky, but overall I did enjoy this. It is a solid action platformer, one of the better games Acclaim released, and I give it a B. Seemed like every company was trying to publish a fighting game, and Justice League Task Force has some things going for it. really large sprites. I think the graphics are pretty solid, but that control is just a little sluggish for me. I know some people swear by this game, and you might be a huge Detective Comics fan, but for me personally, there's so many other fighting options on the Sega Genesis that are better than this. I'm going to give this a C. And here's a real fighting game, and blew away its competition. Mortal Kombat 2 is the one they got right on the Sega Genesis. Played this quite a bit back in the day. There's so much in this game. Special moves, hidden characters, as well as tons of fatalities and moves at the end of the game. You know, you're going to love playing this game. Play it with a friend. Play the computer. It has so much content. It's an S. Total S. Follow that up with the awesome NBA Jam Tournament Edition. And this is the follow-up to the original NBA Jam. More content, better graphics, better gameplay. I love this game. These are the type of arcade games that I like. Fast and Furious, arcade style action. In my opinion, one of the better sports games on the Sega Genesis. It's a total S, one of the best. Highly recommend checking it out. It's a great game. Next one is Newman Haas IndyCar Racing featuring Nigel Mansell. And, you know, I tried to like this game. I think it is an average racing game. It has above average graphics, but the gameplay for me was just all right. You know, you might be fans of IndyCar Racing. I'm gonna check out Virtua Racing over this, but for fans of more realistic racing, check this out. You judge this game by how it looks. You're like, man, this is going to be pretty solid. Unfortunately, NFL Quarterback Club is a below average football game with sluggish controls. I do not like the menu options in this game on how you choose plays. Avoid this. This is a fairly bad football game when it comes down to it. It is a D. And it was followed up by NFL Quarterback Club 96 with a better menu system. Unfortunately, they focus on changing the graphics instead of the gameplay, and you have the same result. A sluggish football mess. I don't like this game. I don't think it controls well. Avoid it. It's a D. Here are the rankings through the first 14 games. Let's continue. Revolution X. Oh boy! Here we go. This is a terrible game, and the big reason why is it's not compatible with light guns. And so using your control pad in this game, it's a terrible game. The arcade game is alright, and there's other ports that are better. This falls very short, sloppy controls, downgraded graphics, F. This was only released overseas, and this is Rise of the Robots, and this is a terrible, absolute train wreck of a fighting game, and let me tell you why. First of all, your reach on the opponent is terrible. There's a very limited time limit, makes it very challenging to beat an opponent. While the graphics are interesting, it doesn't work for me. The gameplay is truly awful. Avoid this, one of the worst fighting games, F. Really tried to get into this next game, and it's Scooby-Doo Mystery, and it's kind of a point-and-click adventure game. One thing that I'm really disappointed with this is that it's not compatible with the Sega mouse. I tried looking up to seeing if it was. I didn't see it on any lists. But, you know, Scooby-Doo Mystery is a game where it has kind of clunky menus and controls, but I think if you're a Scooby-Doo fan, you're going to probably give this a higher grade. I like the graphics. I like that there's two different mysteries to solve. It's a C for me. Next is Spider-Man, based on the animated series, and this is a pretty rough game. And I don't like how it controls. I don't like the level design. It's kind of confusing what's background and foreground, confusing where to go. Combat and gameplay is clunky. I found myself not enjoying this game whatsoever. There's several other better Spider-Man games on the Sega Genesis. This is a D. Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage was one of a few different brawler Spider-Man games on the Sega Genesis. I like the intro. I like it has that comic book kind of style. And in this game, it's got pretty decent graphics. I like the animation, but I do have to say some of the enemy designs are boring and the gameplay can get repetitive. I do think this is an okay game. It is only single player, so I'm going to give this a C. But important to note that there is a holy grail for the Sega Genesis collecting, and that's the QVC edition of this game. Very hard to get, one of 5,000 copies. There's many things to like about Spot Goes to Hollywood, and first and foremost, it tries to be different. It tries to be kind of a different action platformer. It does have an isometric view. Now, some people may not like that. I like it because it's different, and it's a competent action platformer. It is rather challenging though, but if you can get past that difficulty, you're going to find an enjoyable game, and one I like. It's above average. It's a B for me. There also is an unreleased 32X game that is unfinished but has been released online. Are you a Stargate fan? Did you like the movie? How about the TV show? Well, I'm a fan, and this is a great action title. It's in the same category as like Demolition Man or Judge Dredd. I like Demolition Man better, but this is good. There's lots to explore in here. There's tons of things to unlock. It is very challenging though. I'm not that good at this game, but I did like what I played. There's a ton to check out. I thought this was a well done game, and if you're a fan of the movie, you definitely need to check this out. This is above average, and it's a B. Here's through the first 21 games with 7 more to go. You ever have that one game that you thought you played but didn't? That's True Lies for me. I don't think I ever checked out this game that much. So going back to play it now, I was pleasantly surprised by the exploration and action. It's got really good gameplay. I think this is a solid title, one of the best that Acclaim has done and overlooked whatsoever. Definitely check it out. It's only single player, but if you're a fan of games such as like Mercs, check this out. A little bit more action puzzle, but it's a solid A. If you're a fan of Maximum Carnage, you might be a fan of Venom and Spider-Man Separation Anxiety. I thought it was just alright. So to make two-player game work, what they did is they kind of squished the character sprites. I thought this game wasn't that good though. It has less animation than the previous game. I didn't really like the music. It's kind of 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's still a C. There are many other Simpsons games on the Genesis, but this is the one that Acclaim published. Look for the other ones on Flying Edge. What do I think of Virtual Bart? I don't like it. I don't think it controls great. I didn't like the mini games. You know, if you're a huge Simpsons fan, you may want to check out this ROM, but otherwise avoid this. It's below average. A D for me. One thing Acclaim doesn't get enough credit for is some of the amazing graphics that were in their published games. Warlock is one of them. Has stunning graphics. I like the character. I like the animations. Well, where does this one stand with other action platform titles? I hate the control of this game. Often your weapon is going to miss the target, and frustrating difficulty. You have 1 life, and that's right. If you die, you start the whole game over again. It really ruins the experience. This is a D. I love Wolverine. I followed him in the comic books and movies, and this is Wolverine Adamantium Rage. And this is just not a great game, and it comes down to the very frustrating controls. I don't know how Acclaim could mess this up so bad, but they did. I really wanted to enjoy this game. I remember seeing it in magazines back in the day and really wanting to like this game until I played it. Oh boy, this is just bad. It gets worse as you progress in the game with a frustrating difficulty. This is a D. Concluding the wrestling trilogy that Acclaim is known for is WWF Raw. And this is a very competent wrestling game. If you're a fan of wrestling, look no further than this game. It has a ton of content, tons of options. You can't go wrong with this. 1 to 4 players. I know Royal Rumble is a fan favorite, but I like this game a little more, and I'm going to give it an A. For a different wrestling experience, you can check out WrestleMania, the arcade game, and this is a port of the arcade version. And while it lacks the content of some of the other wrestling games, I enjoy playing this one. Would definitely be one to check out with another player. It does have some limited characters, but I enjoyed playing this. It's a B for me. And here are all 28 games ranked. You can rank them yourself with a link in the description. Acclaim was also connected to two oddities. The first one being the Blockbuster World Game Championship 2. And that was a combination of both NBA Jam Tournament Edition and Judge Dredd, where you'd play one game, you gather points, play the other, there's a total of points, and then that would determine a champion. As well as an unreleased game, the Itchy and Scratchy game, and it's not that great, but you know, for some fans, you may want to check it out. But that's it. That's all 28 published games. What did you think? What was your favorite? What are your stories connected to the channel? You may want to consider hitting that like and subscribe button and clicking the bell as I'm uploading videos every week. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. Let's keep it positive. This is the Immortal Johnny Hancock, and you have a great day.